sending. Hopefully, Kyler Murray learned from some experience to go down the stretch. I know people are not all confident in Cliff Kingsbury, but I think what they've done from a personnel standpoint, if they can get the nuance right, this team can be very good and actually win or go for second place in this division.
Yeah, a lot of people really high on Arizona. All right, Diana, back to the Bucs. Where will they lose their first game?
Boys, if the Bucs can get past the New England Patriots in Week 4, and that's an if, because you know that's going to be a highly emotional game for Brady, and I'm banking that he can work through that. I think it's going to be the New Orleans Saints in Week 8 on October 31st that are going to end this hot win streak that the Bucs are going to start off with. Because look, here's how I see it. Sean Payton is vindictive. He has a lot of revenge in him, and I think he also wants to show the rest of the world that he doesn't need Drew Brees to win. Sort of similar to the way we saw Tom Brady go, I didn't need Bill Belichick to win with the Bucs. So I think a similar storyline is going to paint a great picture for the Saints to take the Bucs down.
All right, I would like to dive into that New Orleans piece of this a little bit later, but for the moment, we're going to take the Bucs part of it. Tom Brady talking about his learning curve during that first year in Tampa. He had this very interesting thing to say.
Midway through the year, I was still trying to figure out how to call plays. I would just read them off my wristband and try to visualize what was going to happen. But it's like learning a completely new language. You've spoken English for 20 years. Now all of a sudden someone's like, hey, man, let's speak some Spanish. And you're like, huh? Like that makes no sense to my brain.
So that fascinated me when I read that. I wanted to bring that back because, Marcus, we're talking about a team. Yeah, they started 7-5. They just won the Super Bowl with a quarterback who was saying midway through the season, I wasn't even sure in which language I should be calling the plays. What is it that should stop me from saying the Buccaneers offense should be markedly better this year with everybody back and Brady aware of in which language he should be calling the plays? What should stop me from saying the Buccaneers offense is going to be unstoppable this year? Marcus?
Not a damn thing, G. Listen, I'm right there with you, man. First of all, the continuity, being around these players, and that's the thing that was so impressive about last year once he started to understand Spanish. I still don't know nothing but hola. That's the only Spanish I know. But if you think about what Tom Brady and this offense looked like, he really kept it to the words that he knew as the stretch went along. Example, check downs. Let's get Leonard Fournette involved. Let's run the football. He was used to that in New England as well. Let me get Gronk heavily involved in this playoff run. He did that as well. So, and Antonio Brown, who had built that rapport with in New England in one game, we saw if that could materialize and become what it was. Now going into this season with a full off season, a better understanding of the players, understanding Bruce Arians and Byron Leftwich and how they want to run and maneuver this offense, yeah, they should be markedly better. And gee, this too. Spanish is a lot easier when you take a year's worth of the class as opposed to going 2 or 3 days a week like I did at LSU.
There you have it. If you grow up in it, you're fluent in it, that's one thing. But Dominique, what is that?
Marcus ain't go to no class at LSU. He ain't go to not one class his whole time at LSU.
I did.
And Greedy, I know Greedy speaks Spanish fluently. No, you went to football. And then you went to training table, and then you went back to football.
Oh,
Don't
no.
lie.
Oh, no.
There you go.
Oh, no.
Greedy, I know your Spanish is tight, but I don't think that Tom Brady is going to be that much better because I think this was just something to say. Like, he knows how to play football. If we expect rookies to walk into training camp and learn a bunch of new terminology, I think that the greatest quarterback of all time didn't struggle that much figuring out the proper verbiage for getting in and out of plays and audibling and changing things. They're going to be just fine. I think they were 5th in the NFL offensively by EPA, and I think they'll probably be just about that. They're not going to suddenly turn into the Chiefs or as efficient as the Ravens now because Tom Brady can speak Spanish.
Diana?
Mike, you're telling me the greatest quarterback to be alive on this planet couldn't understand a Bruce Arians offense? Are you kidding me? This is such an excuse for them coming out slow. And look, I do think there was a transition going from New England 20 years in the same offense, in that same Patriot way, going to this loose, different type of vibe in Tampa Bay. But stop. This is such an excuse. This is Tom Brady. We are not talking about Zach Wilson learning how to play in the NFL. We're not talking about Trevor Lawrence. Stop. Tom Brady is a smart player. He taught himself. He was out there practicing in high school fields learning the offense. Remember that? He was teaching himself. I think this was just a way for him to polish all his...
Hold on a second.
Go ahead, Marcus.
Go ahead, Diana, finish, but go ahead. I want to interject after you get done speaking about Tom Brady.
I just think someone at his level, with his ability and his experience, I don't think learning a new language of offense or a new offense is that challenging for him.
It's not, but I'm listening to you and Foxy talk about Tom Brady is just getting this going for the offseason. Did we not watch this Tampa Bay offense look like crap during the first half of the season? Something was wrong. It was either he couldn't understand Spanish or they couldn't execute the way they needed to. The dude didn't even realize it was fourth down in the game. You would tell me a 20-year veteran would make that mistake?
I guess maybe.
Crazy. This team looked 100% better as the stretch went along in this season than they did offensively. I got to turn into Dan Orlovsky because y'all on here with that foolishness.
I guess maybe his mind was trying to figure out the terminology so he couldn't look at the sideline and see the big four over there. Maybe, like, he's not perfect. He makes mistakes, but I think that him understanding the offense wasn't the reason why he was struggling necessarily. Maybe it's because he's 100 years old and he's still playing quarterback and not everything's going to be perfect. Like, that feels like more realistic to me. And I don't know. I took a bunch of Spanish like you, Marcus, and I don't remember much of it, but I remember Tengo, Los Gatos, and Mis Pantalones. You remember that one? Blue Street.
What is that?
Remember Blue Street?
What is that?
Oh, I forgot.
I think it means I have cats in my pants.
I can't make movie references without my man RC here.
I missed it.
Yeah, that actually translates to is I have cats in my pants,
involved in that.
which is just inexplicable to me. But let me just say this: what is a reasonable way to say it is that it took them however long it took them to figure out what their offense should be. For Tom Brady and Bruce Arians to figure out what offense would work for them. So if Brady were to walk in and say, "Dame la pelota, por favor," and Bruce Arians would say, "Oh, that's Spanish. I understand what you mean," and now all of a sudden, and Gronk would walk in and say, "Just throw me the damn pelota and everything will be just fine. We don't have a problem here." And that's it. So we can sort of slice these things up a lot of different ways. All right, Diana, let's get back to serious business here.
Let's
run the hurry up.
Greenberg.
Diana,
you make me sick. Nobody asked
Where
you
are
if
we
you
here?
Spanish.
Diana with the hurry up. Let's go. NFL veterans can report to camp starting today. What are we keeping an eye on?
Yeah, so we know rookie camp was over the weekend. We're going to get into that a little bit. But today's skills and drills is really the second phase of the offseason plan. And really, Mike, the reason why we're even interested in this in mid-May is because we know the NFLPA suggested a lot of players just stay away and they don't show up. OTAs officially begin on May 24th, but it's going to be really interesting to see how many vets actually show up today. I spoke to a few teams yesterday. They're expecting 30 to 35 players. They normally get 70 to 75 guys showing up this time of year. So it's certainly going to be some challenges for some teams here. Meantime, the man that has won, or at least had a winning season the last 9+ years, Russell Wilson, the only quarterback in history to have that much success. Contract negotiations are being discussed. Pete Carroll was asked, you guys are trying to save some money, trying to make some room in your salary cap. Have you discussed this with Russell, maybe restructuring? And apparently, coach says they haven't discussed it. They're open to discussing it, but remember, they don't need Russell Wilson's approval if they want to restructure. But you got to figure they're not going to want to upset him any more than they have, considering the offensive line didn't get much improved. Meanwhile, Dak Prescott. What great news for Dak, guys. Nothing but optimism and good things coming out of Dallas right now. Mike McCarthy saying basically that he expects him to be a full go for training camp. Dak Prescott recently telling a member of the media in Dallas if he had to play in the game right now, he could. So really good news considering he's coming off that brutal right ankle injury.
No question. And there was other really good news for the Cowboys, which we'll get to in just a moment here on Get Up. So you don't want to miss that. You also don't want to miss our next WNBA games. They're on ESPN2 and on the ESPN app. Tomorrow night, the Mercury